The name Borgia, it brings up these two completely opposite ideas at the same time, doesn't it? On one hand, sheer political brilliance, carving out this power base in Renaissance Italy.
And on the other, just pure, unadulterated ruthlessness. Poison, scandal, murder, the whole lot. They're this ultimate historical contradiction.
Exactly, and that contradiction, that paradox, is really why we wanted to do this deep dive. The idea is to get past the sort of sensational legend.
Yeah, all the jokes about never accepting a dinner invitation from them. We want to look at the actual history, the political context of how they got so powerful.
Understand the crimes, sure, but also their surprising impact on how we think about politics, even today.
Our sources really place the Borgias, originally the Borgia, from Valencia in Spain, actually right at the center of things in the 15th and 16th centuries.
Huge players. In the church, obviously, with two popes from the family, but also in Italian politics generally.
And that political genius, it just existed side by side with this mountain of accusations, serious stuff.
It's key to grasp they weren't just powerful. They used the papacy itself, didn't they? Basically turned it into a tool to grab secular power.
Absolutely. It was treated almost like a family business, a mechanism for building their own state in a very fragmented Italy.
Okay, so let's maybe quickly introduce the main players, the four figures who really defined the Borgia dynasty.
Right. First up, you've got Alfonso de Borgia. He becomes Pope Calixtus III. He's the one who really lays the groundwork, gets the family established in Rome.
Builds the foundation.
Exactly. And that foundation lets his nephew, Rodrigo Borgia, climb the ranks as a cardinal. Then, bam, 1492, he becomes Pope Alexander VI.
And that's when things really take off. The papacy basically becomes their dynastic engine.
Then you have the kids, who are probably even more famous in some ways. Lucrezia Borgia, Rodrigo's daughter.
Right. Her marriages were key political tools, weren't they? Three big ones used for her father's ambitions.
Yes, strategic alliances. But she was also, interestingly, a big patron of the arts, not just a political pawn.
Okay, and then there's Cesar Borgia, Rodrigo's son. He's the one who leaves this huge mark on political history.
Definitely. Starts out high in the church, a cardinal, but then he does something unprecedented. He's the first cardinal ever allowed to just resign his office.
Gives up the red hat.
Yep. Dedicates himself completely to military conquest, trying to carve out his own state in central Italy. He was the muscle, and terrifyingly good at it.
Caesar's name is just dripping with brutality, which I guess brings us back to that big question. Were they really that much worse than everyone else?
Well, our sources suggest that, yeah, their actions were criminal, ruthless, no doubt about it, but maybe not entirely unique to them.
So the scheming, the eliminations, it wasn't necessarily some demonic Borgia invention.
That's the nuance, I think. If you kind of strip away the legend, the methods they used, simony, backstabbing, power plays, were actually pretty typical.
Typical for any powerful family trying to get control of the papal states back then.
Pretty much. It was a vicious political environment. Everyone was fighting for survival, often using really brutal tactics.
Okay, but then why? Why did the Borgias become the poster family for Renaissance wickedness? If everyone was doing it, why did their name stick so hard?
Good question. I think it was partly the sheer visibility of their success, how fast they rose, and the fact that their crimes, real or maybe exaggerated, got tangled up with the birth of modern political thinking.
They were just so blatant about it, and successful for a time.
Exactly. It made them the perfect story, either a warning or, for some, maybe even an inspiration.
And just as a quick aside before we get into the poison stuff, it wasn't all dark, was it? There's that irony of St. Francis Borgia.
Right. A great-grandson of Pope Alexander VI, later canonized as a saint. It does add a strange twist to the family saga.
Okay, but let's turn to those political weapons now. The core of the dark legend really revolves around poison, specifically this mysterious Cantarella.
Yes, and that's the focus of the article we looked at, Toxicology in the Borgias period. The mystery of Cantarella poison. It digs right into this.
Poisoning back then, it was like the silent killer of politics. So common that if a pope or a cardinal died suddenly, almost no one believed it was natural causes.
Absolutely. It was the age of assassination by stealth. The powerful had doctors, alchemists, pharmacists working on creating lethal concoctions.
And the sources mention these poisons came from everywhere, the three kingdoms of nature.
That covers everything, basically. Animal sources like snake venom or Spanish fly, plant sources, aconite, belladonna, strychnine. And minerals, arsenic was always a favorite.
Reliable, I guess.
Very. And look, this wasn't just the Borgias being uniquely sneaky.
Uh-huh.
The archives from Venice, the Council of Ten, they show state-sponsored poisoning was a known political tool.
Yeah, I found that bit really chilling. Like in 1477, the council deciding to try and kill Sultan Mehmed II by getting to his doctor.
Or even earlier, 1450, trying to off Count Francesco Sforza with these poison balls. You heat them near a fireplace, they release deadly fumes.
So the Borgias weren't inventing this, they were just maybe perfecting it.
Exactly. They operated in that existing environment. And in that world, the ideal poison wasn't just about killing someone. It needed specific qualities.
Reliable, yes.
Oh.
Effective, obviously. But the main thing was it had to be deceptive.
Deception was everything. You didn't want it to kill instantly. That was too obvious.
Right. You needed something strong enough to guarantee death eventually, but slow acting. Make it look like a fever, maybe, or just a bad stomach bug. Plausible deniability.
Which leads us right back to Cantarella.
Mm.
The legend says it was arsenic-based, probably, but the exact recipe is lost to history.
But what made it so feared was the alleged control it offered. This physician, Paolo Giovio, described it as a whitish powder. Apparently tasted okay, maybe even sweet, like sugar.
Easy to hide in food or drink.
And the terrifying part was the claim of precision. Depending on how it was prepared, it could supposedly kill someone in a day, or a month, or even drag it out over a year.
The ultimate slow-burn political weapon. Just imagine the fear that must have generated.
And that control, that delay, it connects to the name itself, possibly. Cantarella.
There's a theory, yeah. It might link back to the Greek word cantharis. That word refers to Spanish flies.
Ah, okay. The blister beetles.
Right, which produce cantharidin. And what's fascinating, as you pointed out earlier, is that cantharidin wasn't just known as a poison.
Ancient writers like Pliny and Dioscorides, they documented it. Small doses were used as an aphrodisiac.
Exactly. So it was already sort of circulating, used for other slightly less lethal purposes.
So if the Borgias were using something like cantharidin or an arsenic mix that mimicked its effects,
then the symptoms would be nonspecific. Confusion, vomiting, stomach pain, diarrhea, things that could easily be mistaken for illness.
especially if the victim had maybe recently taken some kind of tonic or aphrodisiac, perfect cover.
Precisely. Cantarella, whatever it actually was, became the symbol of that hidden, deceptive Borgia approach to power.
And this whole approach, this ruthless, effective, often hidden political maneuvering, it leads us straight to Machiavelli.
Yes. Caesar Borgia's campaigns, his whole style of operating, was the direct inspiration for Niccolo Machiavelli when he wrote De Principatibus, the book we now call The Prince.
So Caesar's actions literally jumped off the battlefield and into political philosophy textbooks.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Machiavelli watched Caesar and basically thought, okay, the old ideas about rulers needing to be virtuous and moral, they don't work in the real world. Not in 16th century Italy, anyway.
So what did Machiavelli see in Caesar that was so revolutionary?
Realism.
Ah.
Cold, hard realism.
Mm-hmm.
Machiavelli argued a ruler must make decisions based on the situation at hand, the necessity of the moment, not on some abstract moral code.
He wasn't saying be cruel for fun.
No, not at all. He was saying a ruler has to be willing to learn how not to be good, as he put it, if that's what it takes to keep the state safe, or just to hold on to power.
And that idea, that philosophy, it basically gave rulers permission, didn't it, for centuries afterwards?
It gave them an intellectual justification. They could point to Machiavelli, point to necessity, and excuse actions that looked, well, immoral. Deceit, cruelty, breaking treaties. If it served the state, the means justified the end.
That's a massive shift in thinking, moving the goalposts from the leader's personal virtue to the state's survival.
Huge shift. And the Prince has been argued about ever since, of course. Is it just a cold analysis of how power works, or is it a handbook for tyrants? But its core idea about necessity that shaped political realism profoundly.
But even for the Borgias, history shows that kind of power doesn't last forever. Their decline was actually incredibly fast, wasn't it?
Shockingly fast. It basically started the moment Pope Alexander VI died.
Why so sudden?
It shows a potential flaw in Caesar's power base, something Machiavelli might have pointed out. Almost all of Caesar's authority, his legitimacy, his resources, they flowed directly from his father being pope.
So when Alexander died, the plug was pulled.
Instantly. The new popes, quite understandably, wanted nothing to do with the Borgia name or legacy. They actively distanced themselves.
That created a vacuum. Cesare lost his military backing, his political influence just evaporated, And that fearsome reputation that once protected him now just made people hostile.
Exactly. His whole structure just dissolved because it didn't have deep roots beyond his father. Add to that the general chaos of Italian politics wars, shifting alliances, and the rise of other powerful families, like the Medici.
The Borgias just got squeezed out.
Their influence, which seemed so overwhelming for a short time in the early 1500s, just faded away. By the 18th century, they were basically gone from the political map, lost the wealth, lost the power.
So, looking back, it's this incredible case study, isn't it? A family using political genius, yes, but also ruthless deception to grab immense power.
Only to see it all crumble because the foundation wasn't stable. It
No.
was too dependent on one person, one position.
And the key takeaway isn't just they used poison, it's why they sought that ideal poison, the deceptive, slow-acting kind. It fit their whole strategy.
A strategy justified by necessity, as Machiavelli would later frame it. Keeping control, maintaining power by any means necessary, even hidden ones.
Which really brings us to a final thought for you listening to this.
Yeah, think about this. If the Borgias relied on slow-acting, hidden toxins, chemical or reputational, to achieve their political aims, justified by necessity, what are the parallels today?
How might modern power players, governments, corporations, political groups use similar tactics?
Think about things like sustained disinformation campaigns, or the slow drip of ideological poison online, or complex webs of hidden influence. Are these the modern equivalents of Cantarella? And how often are they justified by those using them under that same old banner of necessity, the need to preserve power or achieve a certain outcome?
That Borgia strategy, using hidden, deniable means for political ends, maybe it never really went away. Something to think about.